Among the 8 precepts of death, there exists a group that goes by the 8 expendable bullets, which members consist of low-level C-rank villains that join the Yakuza because they lost their purpose in life, and thus support the only person who ever gave them a reason to continue living, the head of the 8 precepts himself, Overhaul. Well, this is true for 7 of the 8 members, all of them except one, a B-rank villain who joined Overhaul not to see him succeed, but to get stronger and beat him themselves. This being the first corrupted precept himself, the ferociously fast, fist-flinging fighter, Kendo Rappa. Kendo Rappa is the strongest of the 8 expendable bullets within the 8 precepts, and is on the level of a main precepts member himself, as he joined due to a duty towards Overhaul, since he's the only man who ever beat him in a straight one-on-one fight, and he desires to find the next thrilling battle that he can stake his life on. And even though he's a bloodthirsty criminal, he has a code of honor that he tries to uphold and tries to make others uphold when fighting them. Though before we get too into that, we should discuss the meaning behind his name. Kendo Rappa is a very simple name for an equally simple man, because when you break it down, the Kendo part of his name translates to shoulder movement, which works well with his quirk. But then you also mix it together with his family name, Rappa, which translates to thug or criminal, or to be more specific, when you break it down into the 2 specific characters, you get chaotic rebellion, which works well with his history since Horikoshi revealed that the whole reason he joined a street gang to begin with was as a young act of rebellion against his strict parents. And then you put both those names together and you get shoulder movement criminal or thug, which is almost a direct summarization of his character's history and role in the series. Especially when you take into account his quirk, Strong Arm, which Strong Arm is a quirk that allows Rappa to fully rotate his shoulders, moving his arms at an extreme speed, allowing him to give his punches immense amount of power. So in basic, when Rappa activates his quirk, he becomes a living machine gun of punches, able to casually throw out a flurry of fists which likely have the same force as a high caliber rifle, as he's not only able to shred Kirishima's unbreakable form in a single hit, but also he's able to slowly chip away at Fat Gum's own body mass defense. And on top of all of this, Rappa aids in his destructive force by wearing gloves comprised of leather straps and metallic knuckles, making his already bullet-like punches even more deadly. And while Strong Arm seems like a powerful quirk on the surface, it actually has a drawback that would hold back most people who would use it. This being that the quirk will tire out the user's muscles if they use it too many times in a row, which will impact muscle performance, but we see that there is no hard limit on how many times you can use it, as Rappa just ignores these drawbacks and keeps attacking endlessly without a care for his own body's health. And the reason that he keeps punching through these weaknesses is because Rappa wants to find people that he can fight to the death with, actively trying to provoke the people that he's fighting with to put everything on the line, which reminds me a lot of the knife-edge deathmatch from Yu Yu Hakusho, which is especially fitting since Rappa, before the events of Boku no My Fight Club Academia, was involved in an underground fight club where the fighters would always be putting everything they had on the line because they had nothing else to fight for. Now, along with this, reference-wise, Kendo Rappa, along with his quirk, seems to be inspired by the Bancho-esque delinquent stereotype character, with his large status, main form of attack being a barrage of mindless punches, and even wearing torn-up clothes in the form of his crow mask, which before he even takes damage already has the back blown out, similar to Jotaro Kujo's own hat. Though Rappa takes the Bancho delinquent's violent tendencies to a bloodthirsty extreme, and it's this aspect of his character that makes him a perfect candidate for Overhaul's own corrupted 8 precepts, as he takes the place of the first and most important precept, this being to avoid killing either directly or indirectly. And since Rappa's sole purpose in fighting is to find someone he considers strong and fight them to the bitter end, he stands as a perfect corruption of this teaching. And this is why Overhaul came to recruit him from the underground circuit that he was fighting in, giving him a new goal to strive for and a new teammate, this being Tengai, a person with a powerful defensive quirk and a more forward-thinking demeanor, likely as an attempt to give Rappa sort of a handler, someone who will keep him focused on doing his job. Though this team would end up being basically incompatible, as Rappa wished to fight and win with his own strength rather than relying on an ally's shield, Overhaul accidentally mixing up the unbreakable shield and the unstoppable spear. And their incompatibility would go so far that, when given the chance, Rappa would just knock out Tengai when his defenses defenses were down. And this is because while Rappa did respect Overhaul as a powerful fighter, he didn't have any loyalty to him and his decisions, even being completely willing to spill all of Overhaul's plans to anyone who asked him about it. He's also willing to allow Kirishima and Fat Gum to heal themselves up after their fight, even helping direct them to a room where medical supplies were, because one day he wanted to fight both of them again. So at the end of the day, to him, they were basically on the same level of respect that he had for Overhaul, which is why I feel like that Rappa, even though he was arrested, will appear again later in a future arc of Hiroaka, either as an ally or an enemy, but definitely during an arc that involves Kirishima, especially since Horikoshi said before that he really enjoys drawing Rappa, so I see him finding any excuse he can to bring him back. And if you want my predictions on when he will bring him back, I will say that it'll happen during the theoretical prison break arc that Hiroaka seems to be building up to. I imagine Rappa will break out of prison and track down Kirishima, but won't act as an antagonist, but as an ally to Kirishima during his fight against Gigantomachia. As not only does Rappa have a lot of respect for Kirishima, but he would probably find great pleasure in fighting someone like Gigantomachia, given how durable he is. And if this prison break arc also frees the rest of Overhaul's crew, I imagine Shisaki might have a bit of a grudge against Shiggy Diggy and his crew. But that is only my prediction for the possible future of Hiroaka and that of Kendo Rappa. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like it in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MediNotTheBadGuy. And if you want to strong arm your way into a new great life, well, you can do so by buying a copy of Shimonetta, A Boring World Where the Concept of Dirty Jokes Doesn't Exist at buyshimonetta.com.